You're now listening to the show about the shit in life that's just a bit too much, from the perspective of stand-up comics, with our hosts, Carmelo Bongiovi and Ken Krantz. This week's topic, Pilgrims and Idiots, with our guest, Mike Sicoli. This is A Bit Too Much.
Every holiday was like fighting. Like it was fun until there was fighting. Like it was usually my dad and one of his brothers or a brother-in-law and something. Like somebody would say they would get drunk, and my dad would drink like wine all night and then cognac. That's the fucking like heavy shit, you know. So like, and that's what people were doing. They're either they would go from their beer or wine to like hard liquor, to like a whiskey or a cognac. And, so, these are very drunk people because they're all going to drive home drunk at the end of the night. No one gave with all the kids in the car. No one gave a shit. And they would inevitably fight. That was like holidays for me. So like, this is airing around Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was like, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday because I'm a fat fuck. So like, it's been since I was a kid. But it was kind of like a countdown when we were kids. We were like, okay, let's have as much fun as we can before my dad calls your dad a piece of shit and I'll never speak to you again and fuck you. And then they won't talk till Christmas. They're like a month later, everyone will be fine and they'll probably fight again. That was the family dynamic. I hope you guys had a little more of a normal family dynamic.
Thanksgiving's for me, I would spend like at my mom's side of the family most of the time in my early days. And my mom's side of the family is like no etiquette, the way they eat and talk to each other.
Very Italian American. So is that what it's like? Very...
Yeah, but I used to get in trouble by my dad if I would do stuff like that. So I was very sensitive to seeing stuff like that, and I would just be like shaking my head in the corner like a 5-year-old, just being like, they're not acting right?
Yeah.
And they had a horrible like table etiquette. So I have a weak stomach. I can't watch people chew or stuff. I hear people chew.
You're like my wife.
If
I chew with my mouth open, she like.
Yeah, I hate.
Like if I don't chew with my mouth open, but like if I'm eating and like it's kind of like you cover your mouth and you say something. Yeah. She's like I hear the lips smack. She gets all fucking irritated.
Can't do it. Yeah.
My wife wants an unreasonable like she wants you to have no sounds.
Mm-hmm. I would throw up at every Thanksgiving.
What? Just hearing other people eat.
Thanksgiving, Easter, Christmas, every holiday.
Because of the way your mom's family was eating.
I would get grossed out, and I would end up throwing up. And they're like, oh, there he goes again. There he goes again. He's throwing up again constantly. Every holiday.
That's funny.
Horrible.
My wife could throw up on the dime. One time my wife found out. She didn't see it. We had a mouse. I told her we had a mouse, and she threw up. She didn't see the mouse.
By the way, that would be like my superpower. If you could tell them, like, people are like, oh, I'd like to fly. I would be like, let me throw up on demand because that would get me out of everything.
I think I can do that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, then you can look like a good guy. You can be like, yeah, I'll be there Thursday night.
Yep.
Yeah, we can go to your mom's. And then just an hour before, you're just throwing up.
Yeah, you're in love.
I wish we could have done it.
I'm sorry, I threw up everywhere. I go to some shitty bar gig in fucking New Brunswick. You're like, I gotta go.
We had this thing. My grandmother growing up was very religious, so every holiday she would have like this other activity to do for all the kids.
Mom or dad's side of the family?
Mom's side.
Mom's side.
She would have this activity to do for the kids to like let them learn about the holiday in like a religious way. So Easter, she bought her Easter egg hunt at her church. So like everybody else, when you're going on an Easter egg hunt, it's like you go and you find the eggs, you open them, there's like Reese's, there's like quarters in them sometimes.
Right.
So she had little trinkets in each of the eggs that related back to like Jesus coming back to life. So you'd open the eggs and it was like weapons, like spears, thorn crowns, a bloody rag, and there's a little gray
a bloody rag.
Yeah, the shard of Turin. That's what it was called. That's when he's in the tomb, they put like a cloth over his face, and that cloth was still there, and he wasn't. That's what I learned from the Easter game. But
he was the first Houdini.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we had to say what that trinket meant to the story, and then we'd get candy.
That is, I could not imagine
Catholics it's Catholic.
She's
or
calls herself
Christian.
I don't think she knows what she is. I just think she knows she loves God. She definitely doesn't know now because she has dementia.
Yeah.
But even back then,
I'm assuming
even back then,
you're like
she was
I'm Jesus. But no, but she. I'm assuming Catholic is Italian American. I'm just usually.
It's the same. It's pretty much the same thing. I think.
But Catholics are fucked up, man. Like that's the shit that like real diehard Catholics do. It's like morbid, like zombie
the Catholic
Jesus
side's
stories.
a little more morbid. I think the difference between the churches is in the Catholic Church, Jesus is on the cross, and in the Christian, he's not.
Some, some just have like the cross up without him on it, which
where is he? I didn't know. I thought Jesus liked the cross. I thought that's where he.
Oh, he didn't. I don't think he liked it.
Well, I don't think he liked it.
He was always there.
Well, he's always hanging out in that fucking thing.
You never see him not on it. He must have.
Like I'm always at Starbucks. I like Starbucks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. No, but some will like. I don't know if it's that because I just grew up with a Catholic upbringing, so I kind of just know that. But like I don't know if when he's not on the cross, it's because it's like why be so fucking morbid? Honestly, you get the idea.
Where is he when he's not on the cross?
It's not that he's not really
playing video games. Like what is he?
No, it's not that he wasn't. I don't think that they believe that he wasn't crucified on the cross. I think they're just more like, why have to make the statues?
Like why show it?
Like why show it? And which is a good fucking point.
So it's more like PG-13 Jesus.
Right.
I think
It's like if modern day, like if millennials made Jesus, they wouldn't.
It's like CW Jesus.
It's just such a weird.
Right. I grew up with Sopranos HBO Jesus. He grew up with Smallville Jesus.
Yeah. And it's such a weird symbol to have represent your whole
a dead guy
thing. No, just the cross itself. Like you couldn't have picked something out. Like I'm sure he wasn't a fan of the cross. That's like Whitney Houston dying and her whole family's just walking around with crack rocks on a necklace.
Yeah,
That's
right. Yeah, exactly. Because why couldn't it have been any of the miracles he did?
Yeah.
Like why couldn't it be like? Why couldn't there be like a big wine glass or water into wine, or like the bread?
Feels like it'd be a more fun religion if it just focused on wine and carbs.
It doesn't though. The funny thing about it is Italian Americans do only focus on wine and carbs, and it's that's why I was asking you the specifics of this. Is like Italian Americans are very funny. They're typically. Like you said, like there was no table manners. Typically, a very loud and sort of like bold or blunt, I should say, not bold, like a blunt group of people, right? Like very loud people, very like I don't give a fuck. I'll tell you what I think. Like that's kind of a thing with Italian Americans that they take a lot of pride in being that way. But then on a drop of Easter comes around, we gotta go to fucking church. They turn super fucking religious.
I'll break your fucking knees with a bat.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of a sudden they've got all these fucking morals. Yeah. It's like I grew up with Italian Americans who were like, fuck the cops, like this is all this stuff now. And then like really they didn't believe in like law and order as it pertained to them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? My dad if my dad couldn't find a parking spot, he parked on the curb. He would just hop the fucking curb and park. Like if there was enough room, he'd just put his car on the sidewalk. He didn't give a shit about any of this stuff. But then, holidays come around. It's like, we got to be good to each other.
Oh, yeah. That 4 months? That
My
4
dad,
months is like the Brady Bunch all of a sudden. It just switches.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, so the family dynamic at an Italian holiday is a lot. And, it's funny with Thanksgiving because it's my favorite holiday, but it's not, it's an American holiday. It's not like any of these other holidays that are like any other holiday that an Italian, let's say, would celebrate, like Christmas, like the religious holidays, you know? So they bring over their traditions from the old country stuff. But Thanksgiving is not a holiday you would obviously celebrate in another country. So like my Thanksgivings were like, in the beginning, they were just cooking a lot of Italian food, just like a little more Italian food than usual. Just like more lasagna. It wasn't like there was no turkey.
Lasagna's the holiday dinner, bro.
Yeah.
Every holiday.
It makes sense. Make a giant tray of it. This is the shit that gets me excited. I'm such a fan.
Eve.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve's all fish.
It's all fish. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm super into that shit.
We'll teach you.
My brother-in-law does. It's the 12 fishes, right?
So yeah.
Yeah.
Or
done
no,
that.
no, not 12.
7?
7. Yeah, 12
It's still
apostles.
a lot of fish. 7 is still, it's a lot of fish.
It's too much fish.
I know.
Some would say too much fish.
I love fish.
I do too. And so now I do all the cooking, like because I love to cook, but I just take over because I'm like, I want the food of this holiday to be what I want it to be.
Of course, it's the most important part.
Right. Yeah. But because it's like, I don't even care about the traditions, to be honest. I just love food so fucking much that like, I just want the food to be good. Yeah. So like eventually I think it was my brother who came home when he was like 5 and was like, everyone's talking about turkey at school. We eat like fucking lasagna. Can we have turkey? He's like, I want to be like these kids. I don't want to. When everyone says how was Thanksgiving dinner, I don't want to be like the monocle was fucking beautiful. Yeah, he's like I want a turkey and mashed potatoes. So my mom gave into that and she started doing like half Italian, half American Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
But one thing that sticks out to me about Thanksgiving growing up is it was so weird. My dad had this cousin who we didn't know my whole childhood. And then all of a sudden started coming around, cousin Jimmy. He just started coming around. He was a real nice guy, but like real odd dude. And he was like bald and then had like Jerry curl on the back. It's really odd dude, right? Really strange dude.
Bald people love doing shit like
to the rest of their hair.
They love to grow it long. They love to show off, and I feel like it just draws more attention.
Just shave that.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, he was like bald on top and then had this.
He had a mud flap on the back of his head.
He was very like 80s. He was like stuck in the. And again, this is not a guy I knew when I was a baby. He was not around. Like he was one of my dad's like long lost cousins, and then he just like one day he just seriously happy. He just showed up to the house. He was like, "Hey," to my dad, and my dad was like, "Jimmy," and he's like, "Yeah, what's going on? I heard you lived here." Mm-hmm. And he just started coming around for holidays and stuff. He like kind of didn't have anyone in his life, and he was just like a lonely, but he was like one of those people that were like, he's kind of like a miserable guy, but nice. So like he just was like everything with him. We used to like all do the impression of him behind his back. Everything was like every reaction was just this face. He's just like a boring, lonely dude. After we all felt for the guy, but then he would do like single guy shit at Thanksgiving dinner, like they would also make a ham for him because he didn't like turkey. So he made a whole giant, he had 2 giant fucking hunks of meat on the table. And somebody would like carve like 10 slices of ham and he would just stick his fork through all 10 slices instead of like passing it around. Like he only drank ginger ale. I remember that about him. Mm-hmm. He would only drink, and then him and his brother, because we got to meet his brother eventually, I'm pretty sure they would hire prostitutes or escorts as dates to things. Like they would just show up to family parties with these women who we would never see again, and they all looked like maybe they were like for hire. One time was at like a funeral.
That is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, his brother, not him. His brother showed up to a funeral, my uncle's funeral. With, I mean, if she wasn't a prostitute, no one's a prostitute. I mean, she just oozed it.
I couldn't even imagine like just processing like, all right, shit, like so-and-so died, I got this funeral. Everyone's going to be looking at me like, whoa, he came alone?
Right. Like, no, right? It's like no one would think that. You're at a funeral. Everyone's like, oh, thanks for coming. No one's thinking like, I need a date.
I think it's sometimes when somebody dies, you get real horny. Does that ever happen to you guys? Like if someone dies, there's something
like right
about
after I
it,
kill
like,
them, I'm like, oh man, that's so hot.
Something about it where you're like, oh, I gotta get laid. So I guess a little bit of that. It's the comfort of a person.
No, but this guy wasn't even close to this wasn't even a funeral of someone he was close to, where there would be some effect on him.
He just wanted to get laid.
Right.
Maybe that's what it is.
But maybe he had like a Groupon that was expiring.
And that's
he just
Groupon.
Had to, like he just.
It was a little more like a Craigslist thing than a Groupon deal, but
my uncle on my dad's side, he's got epilepsy, so he's always having seizures and stuff. He's got it pretty bad, and that was another thing. If I wasn't throwing up at a holiday and I was at my dad's house instead, my uncle was like flipping around the fucking kitchen, just having seizures.
What a pain in the ass you guys were.
And like it was terrifying. I remember the first time I saw it. It was terrifying, and I was like, oh my God, I never want to see that again. Scared me, kept me awake. And then years and years and years and years go by. I'm graduating high school. They bring my uncle to the graduation where, like, he's 50-something years old at this point. You should know that flashing lights and him don't mix, especially if you're his family. Right. They brought him to my graduation, and sure enough, like, my dad, like, had just died. We're all at my graduation, hanging out, everyone's taking pictures. All of a sudden, my uncle, like, goes down and starts having a seizure in the middle of the fucking group that we're all in.
Yeah.
And all my friends are like, oh my God, Mike, your uncle. And I'm like, he does this shit all the time. It's so annoying. Like I went from terrified about it to like,
Yeah.
can you like close your eyes?
That's
and, like,
like
wait in the car.
that's
Today's
like kid
about
logic,
me.
though.
Yeah, dude.
That
I was
is like
pissed.
kid logic. You're like, honestly, like enough.
I let him get away with so much, bro. You know, one time
Let him get away.
So, for real.
The dude was just
Dude,
seizing
you know
up.
how many seizures I
wasn't-
just ignored?
This wasn't
I
his
was like,
fault.
fine, whatever, do your thing.
This wasn't his fault, but I was really young, right? I was like 7.
Yeah.
And I would go stay at my dad's house, my grandfather's house for like a week just to hang out and like see my grandfather. And they would send my uncle too, because my uncle never got out of the house. But I'm like 7 years old. They'd be like, watch him, watch your uncle, watch him. And I'm like, fuck. They put me in the pool with him and they're like, watch your uncle. I have to go shower or whatever. And he would leave and it would be a 7-year-old kid. And my epileptic uncle, if
I
he
like
goes
that
down,
they're telling the kid to watch the uncle
it
and not
gets
the other
worse,
way around.
bro.
I mean, all you have to do, like, you just scream if he starts having a seizure. I guess is how you watch
Yeah,
it.
well,
Yeah.
They had 5 bedrooms in that house. They made me sleep in the same bed as him
What?
for a whole week.
What? Like you're like
A whole week. I'm 7 years old, and they're like, "We have other bedrooms, but I don't." They wanted me to watch him, so like I'd be laying there in bed, and we'd be like bullshitting the whole time, and he'd eventually fall asleep. But he would like.
You were like a service dog.
I was basically like a service dog,
They were
bro.
just like,
Like,
did
yeah.
they
I'm
so
train
glad you
to
didn't have a blind
sniff
aunt.
out?
Oh my god.
If you had a blind aunt, you would have had to take her to every store.
That same weekend, I'm watching my uncle in the pool, right? I'm 7 and I'm sitting on the chair watching my uncle like I'm his parent. And I'm like, I have to go inside to pee. My grandfather's in there showering. So I'll never forget, this was like one of the worst weeks ever. I walk in to the house just to pee or whatever. And I see my grandfather butt naked, completely naked in the living room, like looking outside to make sure we're okay. And I'm standing there looking at him. He's like, get out of here. I'm like, oh my, this is like the worst weekend ever, bro.
Tell you something, man. I walked in. My grandmother, my dad's mom used to live downstairs from us. I walked into
course
her
she did, by
bedroom.
the way.
Yeah. My uncle bought the house. My parents lived upstairs. He lived downstairs with his mom. He was divorced. My Uncle Joe, and so his mom and my dad's mom, lived downstairs. I one time walked into her bedroom. I didn't even know she was in there. I think I went into I left a toy in there or something. I walked in. My grandmother was a big woman. I walked in and she was topless, and it was so goddamn scary. I to this day, like maybe once a year, I'm like, oh god, I remember my grandma's giant tits. It just scarred the fuck out. Like I remember walking in and just freezing and being like, oh no. And my grandmother be like, oh no, like with her Italian accent. She gasped in Italian.
I saw my great grandmother naked once. She had spilled coffee on herself on her lap, and she had 3rd-degree burns all over her legs.
Oh god.
And she was watching us a couple days or later, whatever, however long the healing process was. We're all outside playing, and I hear Michael. And I walk back. She was like in her 80s at the time, late 80s.
Yeah.
And she's standing there with like A&D ointment with her pants around her ankles at the front door. And she's like, you guys better behave out there. I hear screaming. She's like crying. I'm like, oh my God, my family does not know how to take care of each other, like at all.
And is this also your mom's side of the family?
This is my mom's side. My uncle was my dad's side.
Did they just tell you to watch her?
They probably, that's what they
I
expect.
just-
Watch
I
your
keep
naked
laughing.
great grandmother.
I keep laughing because I'm thinking like if I was at a pool and my brother and my daughter were in there, and like my daughter's 8, I wouldn't be like,
Yeah, watch
hey,
him.
watch your uncle while I'm inside. I'm picturing
Right.
Mike. I'm picturing Mike like sitting on a pool chair and his uncle's trying to get his attention. Like, oh, watch this. Like, watch me do the diving board.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all the
Right.
annoying shit.
And I'm
a kid
7
would
with
do.
wine in my
Yeah.
hand and a cigarette, just like...
Like, oh, this fucking uncle.
I just got to make sure this guy doesn't start
Great
fucking
cannonball.
By the way, what more Italian thing in the world is then like someone has a seizure and you go, this fucking guy.
Oh, man. it
Oh,
was-
look at this motherfucker
He
again.
would- it wasn't
because
his
Italians
fault.
will always like accuse you of being dramatic.
Yeah.
You know,
It wasn't his
is
fault.
he really having a fucking seizure right now?
But it would definitely get to me. Like my sister's wedding, he threw up all over the table because his belt was too
Yeah.
tight. But
Were you in charge of it? Why didn't you
I got
loosen his
blamed.
belt?
I got blamed. Like, you weren't watching your uncle? I'm trying to have a good fucking time. But it's not, again.
Was he a big guy?
No, he's not a big guy. He's really skinny. He's getting older now. He is, I should have said this before, one of the funniest people I've ever met. And on purpose. Like, I don't laugh at him. He's
those things you said sound hilarious.
he jokes around. He knows too, like how bad it is. But he'll never once like feel sorry for himself. He like went to a Knicks game and he saw a couple kids who were Down syndrome, and he's like, "Man, sometimes you think you got it bad." He's like looking at them, and we're like, "You have it pretty bad."
You're like,
You're right. Yeah, like you still have it pretty
yeah,
bad.
you got it
Like,
pretty bad.
those kids are laughing and having a good time.
Yeah, you were just breakdancing.
You threw up because your
will.
belt was too tight.
Yeah.
You fucking maniac. Wait, I don't understand how he threw up because his belt was too tight.
So I guess his belt was too tight, and he didn't. Sometimes I think he feels like a burden, but he doesn't know what the feeling's like, so he just wants to stay quiet.
Right.
But like someone, I guess, helped dress him, and they were just like, "Fucking, there you go. It's his belt here. There you go." He was annoying somebody that morning while they were getting dressed, and they were just like, "Yeah, how's 4 notches too tight? How's that sound?" Everyone's smiling, and he's just real quiet at the table.
But does he not have like the upper body strength to loosen his
I
belt?
just don't. I think he was like, "All right, they took care of me." You know?
I'm with you because when you first said his like epileptic seizures, I was thinking like that's the only issue, but there's other things going on with him, right?
He's had it rough, man. He's like one of the strongest people I know. He's had like brain surgery after brain surgery, and I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he got it. He could still have a conversation with. He knows sports so well. So well. It's like sports statistics. I don't know what it is about being disabled, but you could tell me like how many yards Joe Montana had on like a date in whatever year it was.
Yeah.
He could tell you anything.
Sometimes there's like a focus on numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he got it from a dirty pool when he was a kid. That's how he got it. He had like some kind of infection in his brain from the pool water.
Oh man! Wow.
And that's how he got it.
That's fucked up. So he's like perfectly healthy kid. Sort of infection.
Well, it happened when he was like a baby, so he was a perfectly healthy baby, and it happened.
Wow.
So he had a good run for 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, but he is so.
Yeah.
He peaked at 1.
Yeah. They were like, throw this kid in the pool. He was watching his uncle as a 6-month-old. They threw him in a dirty pool, got infected. How dirty does a pool have to be to
get into your brain,
I mean,
though?
I
That's
think
what
it was
I'm like. How does
a mix of like the
how does
chemicals.
pool water get to your brain?
Well, if you're in the pool and it like gets in your mouth or like your ear,
You know, there's other parts blocking between the
just-
mouth and the brain. It doesn't just go,
yeah,
go right
I
up to
don't
your
know.
brain.
I think it's a
some
bacteria
sort of,
thing.
like it's in his
Yeah.
bloodstream.
Yes, exactly.
Type of
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
But I used to hang out with him all the time. We had fun.
Yeah.
Unless I
I'm
was
just
sleeping in the same
picturing-
bed as
Yeah, he
him.
sounds like
I'm
a blast.
picturing this little baby with like a massive head wound with like brain exposed, and the parents are just like, whatever you do, don't put him in the pool. Someone fucked up and put him in the pool.
Someone was like, but he looked
Yeah.
hot.
I don't know. I don't really know how it happened, but he was he's still alive. He's still around. He's cool. He's a lot of fun. We should have him in. Let's bring him in. He'd be a lot of fun. Just turn these lights off. Don't take his fucking. Don't take
Do
his
a
big-
low light.
That's what my one friend said. He was like, "So when your uncle was like in bed with you, did he like try anything?" I'm like, "No. If he ever fuck with me, I just take my phone out and start flashing my light on and start taking his picture." But he would never.
I like how people just assume that, like, because I guess it sounds weird, like 7-year-old with.
It's definitely weird, yeah.
It's weird, but it's not his fault. That's a situation that the rest of the family set up.
Yeah, exactly.
He probably was. I doubt he wanted to fucking have
I'm
you.
sure
and
he
his,
wanted his own-
I would not have even wanted to visit. Like if I'm at the point where they're like,
Yeah.
you can come stay over, but your 7-year-old nephew has to sleep in the bed with you, I'd be like, I think I'm gonna pass this
But
weekend.
we
Yeah.
were like boys. It wasn't weird at the time. He was like one of my best friends at
Yeah.
the time. So I was like,
Right.
whatever. We're just having a
right.
sleepover. put a
No,
couple
I don't think
pillows
it's
in.
actually that weird to be like. I don't think of it in like a creepy way
It's the
because
stigma of a creepy uncle.
yeah,
That's what it is. But he was
right,
never
because it's
creepy.
an uncle, and and you're like not a 3-year-old.
He was
You're
never
7.
creepy, yeah.
yeah. So you're at an age where like you might not. But I want to ask you about that family dynamic a little bit. So you said something before. You said your mom's family, like they were the ones that were like had no etiquette, right?
They don't really have any etiquette, no. And my
But your
dad's side,
dad's side, both Italian,
both Italian, yeah.
Okay.
My dad's side was
Italian American though,
Yes,
right? Like
yes.
they've been
well, my great
generations.
grandparents were in Italy, and then they came
On both
here.
sides?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
got it.
then my dad's
So
side.
they're second generation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like
okay.
if I could, the type of Italians, my mom's side's like mechanic Italians, and my dad's side's like Frank Sinatra, suit, cigars, smoking a cigarette. That's my dad's side.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like real
No, I get what you're
classy.
saying. It's a different brand.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a totally different
Exactly.
brand. Yeah. One's like the Walmart brand.
Exactly,
And one's
yeah.
name, and one is
Target or
the more
fucking-
romantic brand of it. They're like the
Exactly.
nice shirts and stuff like that. And the other ones, like the other ones are the real problems. They're the ones that'll
Kill you,
both, by the way, have the capacity because one side they both could be mobsters, right?
Yeah.
Well, one side's like, I'll just crack your head with a tire iron in the street. The other one's like, I'll do it in your sleep.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you. The other one's like, I'll be seeing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, so did the two sides mix?
No,
No,
not well.
not well.
And then I'm the fucking result. Just a anxiety-ridden ginger with like bites his nails. That's what the result is.
That's funny though. It's funny that you like, because it's, I think people like are Italian American. It's like one thing, right? But there are, I mean, that's like true of every culture, I guess. It's like, sub brands, I guess you could call it. There's like derivatives of it. But like the big, I would imagine big family, especially with your mom's side, loud.
Yeah.
Right? Very loud. And that's the thing is like, we're talking about Thanksgiving, like, people, first of all, Thanksgiving is already a pretty fucking perverse holiday if you think about the fucking origins of it. Like, right? Like it's already a fucked up holiday, but it's a holiday that Italians have nothing, there's no.
Do you know how much fun the Thanksgiving plays in elementary school would have been if they showed what really happened?
Right.
The parents would have probably actually stayed like, wow, this is crazy. These kids running around.
Thanksgiving now would never be celebrated if that all happened now. No. Like if you think about what came after Thanksgiving, it is kind of weird that we celebrate Thanksgiving, right? Like it'd be like having an anniversary with someone who date raped you.
Like Columbus
like, well,
Day.
we had the nice date before you did that. We had a really nice, it's like, yeah, sure. You guys had some corn together. Perfect. And then you just eradicated. You just feel like this is all ours.
It kind of makes sense if you think about the family aspect of it, where like you guys all get together one day and play nice, and then after that day you hate each other till Christmas. It's like the same shit.
That's a great point. I guess my family was probably reenacting Thanksgiving better than most people were.
Oh yeah.
Your family can. I mean, because you had so many siblings, I'd imagine. Well, families were that to me that would make Thanksgiving either a nightmare or great, or like a holiday like that.
My memories of Thanksgiving as a kid were always fun because it was just like all the cousins were together and you were just running around.
And you had so many older, so you're the youngest of all the siblings.
I'm the youngest, yeah. Right. But I had cousins that were closer to my age. Yeah. So I like Thanksgiving to me now is more annoying because it's like
responsibility.
It's not even responsibility. It's like now.
No responsibility. He told me his wife sent him to the store to buy rice once, and he bought minute rice, and they all laughed him out of the kitchen. He said, "I don't think Ken has any of the cooking
I'm not like, oh shit, I still don't have a good cranberry sauce recipe. Like, no, it's not like that. It's that I've got the older members of my family, like all the boomers that are still there, have become like pretty conservative over the last several years. Sure. And now I just feel like Thanksgiving's a chance for like my uncle to convince us all to try and vote for Trump. And it's turning into
You know what?
like,
that's a good fucking point. Families, holidays have changed a lot because of the current state of politics and how fucking polarizing. I mean, I have a lot of cousins who don't talk to each other the same way anymore. And we're 27 cousins. You would imagine makes big, crazy holidays and all the shit. We were all I was close to, I would say, at least like 24 of the 27 cousins growing up. Just because some were older or lived elsewhere. The ones that wasn't that close. But we all got along. We all loved being with each other. But none of this shit came up. Yeah. When we were kids. Yeah. It was a rule that you did not talk about politics, sex, or religion.
Should still be that.
For some reason, sex did come up, but like politics, at least with the older cousins, politics, sex, and religion were the three things that were like, you do not speak about that because they're either inappropriate or they're like, I mean, it makes sense. Politics and religion are things you can't change people's minds on, right? Like you can't have a logical conversation with someone and then they're going to come out of it and go, you know what, you're right.
When have you ever wondered about anyone's political affiliation, religion? Sex is different, but when have you ever really cared? Like anybody else, I don't give a fuck what they think about that. Whenever politics come up at like family gatherings, I like walk away. Whether they're like liberal or conservative, I'm like, I'm so sick of hearing about this every day, day to day.
I walk away whether I agree or disagree.
Yeah.
I walk away even when I agree because I'm like, I feel like everyone's looking for a fucking audience.
Yeah.
and everyone just wants to rant, and I don't care if it's on the side I agree with. I don't really want to have this conversation with you. And if I disagree, I walk away even faster because I'm like, I can't. I'm either going to sit here and listen and nod along until you say something that's going to irk me and I'm going to feel like I have to rebut now. Now we're going to argue.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to have to just keep my mouth shut the whole time and listen to you rant.
That's all they want.
And I have a few cousins who I still love and close with, but like when I see them, they're like, it's like they're always trying to turn me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm one of the, probably one of the fewer in all of those. There's probably a few, but I'm one of the more liberal cousins out of all of them. And like, they're always trying to be like, anything you say. I have one cousin who I'm very close with, but like lately it's been like every time I speak to him, he's like, fucking Biden,
Yeah.
I'm not defending Biden.
It's
I don't know why you think that my whole life revolves. Like, here's the difference between me and you: is my life does not revolve around the person who is the head of the political party I agree with. I don't give a fuck about him because I don't praise politicians.
I don't care either.
Like,
man.
it's weird that people are praising politicians these days.
It's funny because I've noticed, and I feel like as people get older, they get worse with it because they just stop caring what they say. But it's
which has always been the case, but it's like more obvious now. Yeah.
My uncle, my stepfather, they're so into Trump. And they're so convinced that I am as into Biden or Harris as they are to Trump.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But I don't fucking, like, I'm in the middle. In my life, I've voted both ways.
Right,
like, I'm just,
sure.
Like, my uncle will call me up. Oh, turns out Hunter Biden, turns out all of it was true. What do you got to say now? And I'm like, well, sounds like he should go to jail then. Like, what?
Put him in jail.
Yeah, like if he's guilty, send him to jail. Same as.
Here's a great example of that. If you read when the mayor of New York just recently got
Eric Adams.
Yeah, he got like all this. He's got all these charges now, right? People were like, "Well, this is familiar. Doesn't this sound a lot like when everyone was accusing Trump?" I'm like, "Why do you think no one's defending him? No one's defending Eric Adams. Nobody gives a fuck. Put him in jail.
I don't even know what.
Put them up.
I'm watching Sicoli actively not giving a fuck right now.
Right.
You know what? You know what?
But my point isn't even about the policy or the politicians. My point is about the people who defend. Like, people want to argue about it, and they're like, "Well, look, now it's him." It's like, fucking throw him in jail.
I have family members that want to argue with me about politics as if I care enough, or as if I'm invested as they are.
Right.
And
I don't even think it's that they want to argue politics. I think anybody who brings up politics out of nowhere and tries to like rant to you is just like, look how much I know about what's going on. Look how smart I am.
When KP was on the show, he said Trump broke America, right? And I do believe that. I do think that something happened in 2016. That race was so volatile that people lost their fucking minds. They really did. And I'm saying both sides. But it was, and the reason why I agree with the Trump specifically is because he's the one who brought that kind of heat to that race, right? He's the one who brought that way of going at each other to that race, right? Like I was gonna say Chelsea, Hillary Clinton wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? She got caught in that, right? Whether you hate her or whatever. That wasn't what that was going to be. That was going to be a regular political race, but Trump made it this personal thing, and now it's what it's been all the way down to the Harris debate. That's what it is now. Now it's this personal, over the top, spew shit thing, and again, it's not about being Republican or Democrat. It's though. There was a I don't know, like some sort of brainwashing that happened where people are fucking broken now. Everyone's looking for an argument. So I don't know if it's that people want to say, look how much I know, or if people just want to argue. But no one's fucking happy about any of it.
Oh, no. I mean, how could you be? I think it's that nobody really, if you look back at 2016, before Trump ran, everybody I know, no one gives a fuck. No one gave a fuck about politics. Oh, this is the politician. This is who it is. But when you have somebody who's been on television for like 30 years. Everybody knows him. Now he's involved in politics. Now people who weren't paying as much attention are paying attention. People who don't know how to act when it comes to politics are now acting for the first time about politics.
Yeah.
I think every single person in the last 8 years, or 12, however long this whole Trump and Hillary, Trump and Biden, Trump and Harris, I think they're all pieces of shit.
Of course.
Every
Of course.
single
But
one of
that's
them's
my
a piece
point
of
every
shit.
time is like, we shouldn't believe wholeheartedly
No.
in any of these people.
And you're going to bat for these people who aren't running the country.
You
This
know-
is someone to blame for the next 4 years. So
You
you
know-
have a face to put it to.
Right. Talk about, bring back to what KP was saying, the whole like sort of shadow government, you know, because he's got theories on theories and theories about theories, you know, and like that idea that like it doesn't fucking matter who they put in that seat, but whoever they put in that seat right now, it seems like you're either going to praise them or fucking blame every single thing on them.
Absolutely.
You know?
It's you were talking about like people are like brainwashed by this dude, and you know how you used to hear like growing up in New York and this in the tri-state area, people have known for, like you said, 30 or longer, really, like 40 plus years, what a piece of shit Trump was.
Oh, yeah.
And
New York,
how, and
New York,
how
New
he
Jersey,
treated,
very familiar with him. Yeah.
how he treated contractors, especially. And my parents used to own a small business,
Right,
a construction
you told me this,
company,
yeah.
and they did a lot of work for Trump, and Trump fucked them over. Didn't pay them what the contract was.
So why does your uncle want to vote for him?
No.
Wait,
This was
this seems better.
my
This is this.
stepfather.
Oh.
This was these were my parents.
Okay, that makes sense.
So for years and years, it's like you mentioned Donald Trump. My mom will be, you know, like
Yeah.
my stepfather would be like
That a personal-
yeah, like this.
Yeah.
They agreed to do a job for however much money. Then they got a letter from Trump's lawyer saying, "We don't think you did a very good job. Here's what we're willing to pay you. Feel free to take us to court. We got much deeper pockets than you do, we're sure."
Yeah.
And they fucked my parents. They signed a contract and they fucked my parents out of a whole lot of money. And now my stepdad tells you that never happened. So you're like,
Because
he's like,
a
oh,
Trump.
Trump. And you're like, hey, what about the fact that he fucking stiffed you on all the money he owed you?
That's crazy, man.
And he'll tell me, that never happened. Who told you that? I'm like, who told me that? You fucking did. My entire life growing up.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm
Now
saying
it's-
about the brainwash. Also, that you know, that's the story of Thanksgiving right there. What you do what happened to your parents. He came along. They're like, oh, look at this white man with all this promise, and then he was like, no, I'm just kidding. Fuck off. It's all mine. It's not yours. It's mine. That way to bring it full circle.
I like him.
Trump.
Oh, no,
He's
I'm kidding.
entertaining.
I don't care. I really don't care either way. But it just feels like, and I'm not sticking up for it. I hate that you have to say like you can't have an opinion either.
You can't
way.
have an opinion.
But-
right. You can't just like a thing he did because then you're like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that all of these liberals who are like equal rights, equal this, equal, like there's all these different sexes, there's all these different genders, accept everybody, don't bully, have bullied Trump to the point of where you're like, holy shit, they put a statue of him naked with his dick out in the middle of the park. And these are the people saying, accept everyone, love everyone,
To be fair,
except this motherfucker.
hilarious.
It was, definitely funny. But if he did that to Kamala and had her out there with her tits out and her pussy out, everyone
Yeah.
going to be like, fair? Are they going to be like, that's a
Well,
bigot?
he is
That
doing
a
that though.
fucking-"
Not with a
He's
statue.
never ever done that.
No, not with a statue. But
No.
but he'll be like, she's mentally retarded.
But that's way different than putting your actual dick out and your naked, out of shape, disgusting body in the middle of the busiest city in the fucking United States.
yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's kind of hilarious.
And then the one, see, like, and
Well,
again,
but that's the thing is there's hypocrisy on both sides, and that's why I don't understand anyone feeling so wholeheartedly one side or the other.
One side or the
exactly.
other.
That's
Exactly.
that's what kills me about the whole thing. It's like, yeah, I definitely lean left, but I fucking hate so much about what goes on with
course.
liberals and what goes on on the left. I hate so much about it, right? I just don't hate it as much as I hate what's going on the right. That's the way I feel.
that's how it should be.
That's the way
it
I feel.
should be different every 4 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Well, yeah. And you're right. When before 2016, you just fucking voted or you didn't.
I
Right?
still don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It is the fucking rhetoric in this country right now. I have a neighbor with a bumper sticker, and it's a picture of Trump giving two fingers with the bandage on the ear, you know, with that like
sure.
Tampax that he wore on his ear for a
Yeah.
while. And
You mean the
it's-
blood pack from when he faked the shooting? That's a funny one. Those
And
people are
it
like, he
said-
faked it. I'm like, motherfucker got shot in the ear.
Yo, that video was correct. He one split second he turns And
Yeah.
if he didn't lean in, he'd been dead. That's
Yeah,
it.
right.
But it's this bumper stickers, him giving 2 fingers, and it says, "You missed me, Trump 2024. And every time we walk past the car, anytime we go to walk the dog, my daughter will look at it and she just says, "Daddy, why is the president flipping us off?"
Yeah,
And you go, he's not the president yet.
he's not. But
And
yeah,
I'm
no.
like, I don't know why people.
Yeah,
I
why
don't
did
know.
we have and might we have again a president who sometimes sticks his middle
Wouldn't
fingers
you
up?
fucking? I mean, like fucking 10 years ago, wouldn't you be like, man, wouldn't it be cool if the president did shit like that? Like 10 years ago.
Yeah, but only in a
He's not. It's unprofessional. That I
you
get.
know, if Obama gave a speech and it was like, I'm just fucking give fuck.
Oh, people would be like, yeah.
Yeah, yes, but you know why? Because it wouldn't have been like fuck you. You know what? I think that's the difference is that his aggression makes people. It's like Italian Americans. Why Italian Americans love this guy because he's like Italian Americans because he's so New York.
He's a Wall Street, New York guy.
He's a New York guy, and I think that's what makes people hate him, and that's what makes people love him. Actually,
It really sounds like I'm sticking up for him, and I don't give a
yeah,
fuck.
no, you
I
do
just
sound
can't-
like you're
I
definitely
can't
sticking up for.
Stress
but-
No,
enough.
but he's right. Like it's
I know what you're
crazy.
saying. I
Like
know- I do agree with you.
So
I do.
I've been on Fox News a few times.
Yeah.
So my friend Jimmy Fallon has a show Saturday nights.
Yeah.
And so I go on Fox. It's a comedy show, and I go on Fox News. He has me on. I the first time I went, the next morning I woke up to people like liberal friends that I haven't heard from in years with texts that were like, "You're fucking MAGA now," and then I'm getting texts from MAGA friends that I haven't heard from in years the next morning that were like, "You're fucking MAGA now?" it's like
fucking
the
bizarre,
same
man.
exact text, and I know how to read it. Like I know what word to put the emphasis on
Yeah,
based
you're
on
MAGA
who
now.
sent it.
You're MAGA now.
Yeah. And it's like
Same thing would have happened if you were on Lifetime, but the other way around.
it's like
You're
everybody
a pussy
fucking
now.
You're transitioning now? But it's like, no, everybody fucking relax. They gave my friend a TV show. If they give you a TV show, I'll go on it. Like
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bizarre. You know, it was funny when you just told me that. I was just remembering that 2 weeks ago where we did a show together. Kevin Israel said you told him to say, I think, you was something about your credits.
Oh yeah, he was like, "What credit?" I was like, tell him anything but Fox News."
Right. And he went up there and he just fucking, I would do this as an MC too. He just said, by mistake, he came back and he was like, "Oh, dude, I just fucked that up." He said, "Don't say Fox News." And I just blanked and went, "Fox News."
Bro, people would probably, I'm not even kidding. I've lived in New Jersey my whole life. People here, it feels like, are more right-leaning than left.
It's
Everybody I've talked to, fucking.
What do you
Central-
mean here? You mean Jersey?
In Jersey.
Yeah.
I know
I
it's
think-
a blue
yeah, I think
state,
that's fair to say.
But it does feel like it's switching a
It
little
is,
bit.
yeah. It does feel that way.
Well, you know what I think too? I think that the voices are more outspoken than they used to be. I feel like everyone
agree.
feels more of a right to just scream what they want. That's the Trump broke America thing.
That, you know,
is that,
'cause it-
is that now you scream your opinion
Right.
out loud.
And if you do that, you're retarded. Just
yeah.
so you know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what people do now. That's the part he broke. It's not making, whether or not he pushed you to the left or to the right. It's that you think that people give a fuck about your opinion.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
cares.
I'll say it right now. If you're the motherfucker at your family Thanksgiving tomorrow, and you're there and everyone's having a good fucking time having some turkey. Because let me tell you something about the fucking turkey I make. Okay? There's no politics to be discussed. I brined that motherfucker for 24 goddamn hours. Okay? Do you understand how fucking bad? I made an herb butter. I softened butter. I chopped up a bunch of fucking chives and rosemary and thyme. I mixed it into the butter. Then I saved that butter for the next day. I got that turkey out of the brine with enough time to dry off because it's got to drain all the water, right? I've tenderized the meat. I now have a dry turkey that I'm molesting this motherfucker with herb butter on top and underneath the skin. I don't even stuff the turkey because it'll take away the juices, okay? I put aromatics in the fucking turkey and the stuffing goes separate. Do you know how much goddamn effort I put into the Thanksgiving dinner? I'm sitting there, I'm carving this fucking beautiful fucking bird. I mean, beautiful. If I could learn from Trump,
He's
there's
got
never
the
been a
best
better bird.
turkey, the greatest turkey, any
Greatest
Thanksgiving.
turkey. It's the greatest turkey. I heard Kamala's turkey. He's a pigeon. And so, and you want to take that moment after I put all that goddamn effort into it to talk about fucking politics. You're an asshole. Okay.
It's embarrassing.
Do you know what I just fucking did for this family to eat one of the best goddamn turkeys they've ever eaten? And you're gonna talk. You're an asshole if that's what you're doing at a holiday when everyone just want like what is a holiday?
Yeah.
It's about fucking getting together and breaking bread and getting drunk, and having a good fucking day. You're supposed to eat a lot. You're supposed to enjoy each other's company. Then again, before politics, bring it full circle. My dad wasn't having a good time at our holidays just because he's so goddamn Italian. So I guess nothing's really changed.
Because we've been talking about Kamala and Trump. This isn't political related, but you said Kamala.
I feel like the more you say you're not political, the more I'm just going to see you like slip out a red hat from behind you.
I know. I'm going to fucking put it right on. This is something else that happened.
You're like playing poker with us.
I was in Syracuse a couple days ago for shows, and I got this Airbnb and it was horrible. Like I got there, it was too small. I was like, fuck this. And it was in like a war zone in Syracuse, like a really bad part. So I found this one place online. It was called Econo. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to go there. It's cool. It sounds like some Native American place, right? Because every place I called was like, we're booked because it's Parents Week in Syracuse. So I'm like, all right, like whatever. This place wasn't. So I drove there. He's like, we got one room left.
Okay.
It's a little expensive. And I swear to God, he then says to me, how do you feel about Indian smell? I was like, what? He was like, how do you feel about Indian smell? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like curry?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. I was like, I don't fucking
Yeah.
care. I was like, I have to stay somewhere.
Right.
Like, I don't care. And it wasn't the Econo. It was the Econo Lodge.
Yeah.
I was reading it wrong. So I was at a fucking motel, basically.
Right.
And
That's what I was thinking when you said that.
That's what
Yeah.
I was thinking. I was like, does this dummy not
I've
yet?
never heard of
Does
that.
he still not know that it's Econo?
No, now I know it's Econo. But I was like, oh, this is a cool Native American place. Oh. And then he's like, how do you feel about
Like,
Indian
no,
smell?
they said I can make the reservation. They said it's clearly Native American. They said there is a reservation.
Yeah. When he told me Indian smell, I was like, okay, fucking this was exactly what I thought it was.
Guess it's
And you're like, which Indian?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
guess it was built over an Indian burial.
And then I
ground.
saw a MAGA hat on his desk. I was like, I know which Indian this guy's talking about.
Exactly. How do you feel about them?
Yeah, not
You know?
curry.
Yeah.
Indian smell.
Indian smell is very funny.
Yeah.
That's because you're not saying it's Indian food, which
Yeah.
is very like obviously super fragrant, like very strong smell, right? Like curry is, but you're saying how do you feel about the smell of
Yeah.
Indian people?
And
that's what he's saying.
They must have hated me more because I go up there, right? I go into the room. They're next to me. So that's why he's saying the whole thing. They were fine the whole time. I didn't even smell anything.
Right.
So I'm in there. I turn the shower on. I got it full blast hot, right? I'm in a towel and I sit down on the toilet just to like edit a video. I get sucked into my phone. The whole room's filling up with like steam. So I'm like, whatever. I had the door open. The steam goes into the living room, sets the fire alarm off for the entire Econo Lodge, right? So I'm like, fuck. I jump off the thing. I jump off the toilet. I'm butt naked now. And I'm standing on a chair by the fire alarm
Right.
with a pillow, like waving the pillow, waving the pillow.
Right.
It's not going off, bro. Then the phone rings, and I'm gonna like shit on the rug because I'm gonna get kicked out. I have nowhere to stay. There's no rooms open. And he's on the phone with me. He's like, just pull it out. Just twist it off and pull it out, yelling at me. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Like, how about this place is a piece of shit?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say it was like your mom calling to be like, "Hey, I need you to watch your uncle."
Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm gonna close off this episode with one thing. So we're talking about racism and holidays. I'll give you one. My mother is not racist. I have a lot of racist.
This feels like, but something racist is coming.
Well, she is, but she's not hateful racist. I'll say that. My mom isn't like hateful racist. My mom has a lot of weird. She's like, I don't even know where she's got like stereotypes of cultures that you've never heard before. Like what? Like one of the most hilarious things I ever heard my mom say, and I still don't understand. Is you know how Puerto Ricans love to have blonde babies? And I was like, what the fuck did you just say? What? No, I'm sure it's not true. Like, Puerto Ricans like having blonde babies? Like you're baffled, right? That doesn't make any
When
sort
you
of
originally
sense.
said it, I was like, I bet you I know every single one he's about to say.
Yeah.
And I did not.
No, my
I've
mom
never-
will,
yeah, that one I've
my
never
mom will hit you with some shit because maybe I don't know. My mom's out there. Like I don't know her logic.
Does she have Puerto Ricans confused with Germans? Maybe.
It's an easy mix-up.
If you said that to her, she'd be like, "Well, yeah, whatever." I don't know. Did she know a Puerto Rican woman who had like a blonde husband and was like, "Oh, I love that he's blonde" or something? Like I have no idea. My mom could make. She'll act like it's totally a normal opinion about something, and it'll fucking blow your mind. You're like, none of the things you just said make sense. So I just want.
I'm gonna ask my wife.
Yeah. Do you ever want a blonde? I mean, I know it's not. It's not a thing. Like, what does that even mean?
I grew up around all Puerto Ricans. I was like the only white friend in my group.
Yeah.
I've never in my life heard that, ever.
Right. Have you ever met a Puerto Rican with blonde hair?
I've had Marta. Do you know what that is? It's fucking that Puerto Rican soda.
Yeah,
never
yeah,
heard
yeah.
that in my life.
He's like, I've never heard of that, and I've tried empanadas.
I have.
I've had at least 3
I've had
empanadas,
homemade
okay?
empanadas.
Mike, do you have anything to plug? This is going to air end of November, I think.
End of November?
You have anything to plug or your site or anything
My
like
special is going to be out soon. It'll probably be out
Oh,
the
sweet,
second
dude.
week of October, third week of October.
that? Nice. Where to find it? What's it called?
I'm not sure. I mean, you're going to be able to find it on Apple Music. You're going to be able to find it on Sirius.
you haven't named it yet?
Yeah, it's called Prom King.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Prom King, go check it out. Very funny. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah. It's a Bit Too Much Podcast on all the socials. Like, follow, subscribe, and, give some, leave a comment, topics you want to hear, and just fucking do it. Just please do it.
I got a MAGA meeting to get to, so I'm going to go.
Yeah. He's already putting his hat on. He's got Doc Martens too, so I don't know. He's going really far into it. It's a bit too much.